Welcome back to another video, and this is my review of the GlossGods Advent Calendar from 2025. Welcome back and Happy New Year. I think by the time I'm uploading this we're officially on 2026, so hopefully you had a good New Year's Eve, and also hope for those of you who celebrated Christmas, I hope you had a very nice Christmas time. So we are going to be going through the GlossGods Advent Calendar products and sort of my review of the calendar. This is going to be a very throughout review, so I am going to be going on a little bit about the pricing, then the sort of different product categories, and at the end I did a whole Excel calculation of how much was this worth compared to how much I paid for it, and also taking into consideration that there are a few products that I'm not going to be keeping, so if we take out the products that are not going to stay in my collection, how much is there still value within having bought the whole calendar. GlossGods is a Swedish-based indie brand. I think they've been now around makeup community for quite a while, and I do think, especially if you live in Europe, they are pretty good indie brand. And aside from eyeshadow palettes, which is usually the thing that indie brands start out with, they also do have now quite a full range of products. So they have some cheap products, they have very broad range of tools, so they have their own brush collection, and then also there was a new kind of makeup tool included in the calendar, which we're going to talk about. And also they do have some skincare, which is also something we're going to touch upon in this particular review though. And the second thing, if we are wondering what's happening with my filming setup, so as a Christmas present I finally got a sort of a table tripod for my filming camera, so it's gonna probably take a couple of videos of us, or me in this case, figuring out the new setup, but I hope this is gonna make filming a bit easier, because I used to have only a tripod that you could set on the floor, and that was causing some angle issues occasionally when I was filming. So I'm hoping now that I have the camera right in front of me instead of on the side that it usually has been, I hope this is going to be making it a bit easier, but it's going to take some time for me to get the setup right and getting used to this new setup. But anyway, let's start going through the sort of review and the products, and then also at the end the conclusions. Okay, first, so some general information about the calendar. So this calendar, I think it was launched on the first half of fall, which was we did get quite a lot of the advent calendars released quite early in the fall. However, I do know for a lot of brands, especially with this particular calendar, because this was one of the more expensive makeup calendars on the market, it makes sense that brands probably want to launch them during the fall time when people still aren't putting their money towards other Christmas things. Because I can say, based on December, I'm going to be filming my November haul video from the previous year after this one. During especially December, I didn't spend that much money on makeup products or products generally towards me. I was buying gifts, so I understand why brands are releasing especially the more expensive calendars so early. So the calendar came in, and now we're gonna see how this new filming setup is working. So the calendar came in this kind of duffel bag, and this duffel bag is going to be counted towards the sort of value of the calendar, because you can buy this bag separately on the website. Whether or not this is actually worth the price of the sort of like that they are claiming, so I think I did put it up here. How much was the duffel bag worth? So the puffy, okay, so it's a tote bag, and they are actually evaluating this for 47.95 euros. Whether I think this is worth 50 euros as an individual separate purchase, I think it's very questionable. They are running still their sort of end of the year sale on the website, but I think by the time this video goes live, I think the sale might have ended or it's ending. So, but full price, they are valuing this particular bag only for 50 euros, and I think almost like 50 euros, it's a bit too much. Aside from the bag, some part of the products came in this, so this is also calculated towards the total value of the calendar, and this is a sort of makeup bag. It's a quite, what I would say, spacious one. I think there's also some individual pockets inside. I think this is okay. How much was the value of this one? So the cosmetic bag is valued full price 34.95. Again, I think this is pretty overvalued on the website if you buy this individually. I think for the like full price and not on sale price, I think like maybe 15 to 20 euros would have been like more a correct valuation of this particular product. Most of the products came in this kind of, okay, now sorry about the noise. So most of the products came in this sort of like silvery plastic bags. I do think these were quite of an okay way to store the sort of individual products, and these are, you can put this in plastic recycling. I think this was okay. I also do kind of like how the bags go with the sort of like white winter theme that this whole calendar had going for it. So that's a little bit about how this calendar came out. There was altogether 24 doors, or if you did get this on pre-order or like I did on a sort of last minute order when they were trying to get rid of the calendars, they did also have a door 25. However, why you never saw a door 25 like unboxing on my short series that I did during the December was because the 25 door was actually a voucher. So with this particular voucher you were able to order one product from their skincare line, and I think this was quite of an okay way because while there were some skincare things generally on the calendar, I do think because skincare is pretty personal, I think this was a good way of sort of like giving people the option to choose what suits their skin. What I wasn't such a big fan of this, so this voucher was approximately 30 euros because most of their skincare products go towards 30 euros on their website. But you had to pay shipping price separately, and GlossGods' shipping prices have been getting quite high. So I actually, when at the end of the video you're gonna see the total valuation, I actually deducted the 10 plus euro shipping price from the value of this voucher, because I think it's pretty crappy that you had to pay shipping for the calendar alone, which was kinda, again, it was more of a expensive advent calendar, so I would have liked to get a free shipping, but okay, I once paid already shipping cost for the calendar, and then I had to pay shipping again separately in order to use this particular voucher. So for me this was like a 20 euro voucher because again I had to pay 10 euros shipping, so it wasn't completely a free gift. So while I do like the option that for those of us who got the 25-day sort of coupon, I do like the option of giving the choice of choosing your skincare product, but I think if you have already paid once for the calendar shipping, you should not have paid free shipping for this product like separately. So that was the sort of how the calendar came in, and the sort of like tote bag and the makeup bag that are calculated towards the total value of the calendar. And now I think first we are gonna go to I think we're first gonna review the tools, and then we go to skincare, and then we're gonna go to the makeup products. So tools, we got quite a few. First of all, we got this one. I'm not gonna show this. This is basically a mirror. So this is a cloud mirror. And this is a product, just like most of the products, you can buy this separately on the website. I will tell, there were a few products that you can't find on the website separately, so I will tell which products they are when we come to them. But basically for tools, you got a hand mirror. Then the product that is not currently listed separately on the website, you can get this as part of like different kind of tool sets on their website. So I can't put a price on this one, and this is something that again, you can consider when I'm gonna tell the valuation of the calendar at the end. So this is a powder puff. I'm probably the last person on planet Earth who hasn't been using this one. I have been still using my traditional like powder brushes to apply my powder, but now I've been testing this one out. And as a powder puff, I do think it works out. The only thing I will say is that this is rather thick, so I think especially for the under eye area, for my particular usage, this has been a bit on the clumsier side. For the like overall face, I think this has worked out just fine. So for the under eyes, I think I've still been using my smaller powder brush, but for the rest of the face, I think this has done its job what a powder puff should do. And I do think because it's a thicker powder puff, this is something that's gonna last better. So because some of the very skinny ones are basically like 1 or 2 time usage, and then you kind of throw them away. I have already like washed this one on the washing machine. By the way, don't like, this isn't the manufacturer's direction for cleaning this out. I put usually my powder puffs and beauty sponges, I usually put them into a washing bag and then to my sort of like washing machine, but do that at your own risk. But it did like survive the washing machine wash, if that is something you're interested in, but that's not how they direct you to clean this. You probably should hand clean this with some makeup removing soap or something. But as a powder puff, it works, and because it is a thicker one, this is gonna last on your use a bit better, but like multiple uses. But it's a bit, because it's also a bit on the like thicker side, it can be hard to get into the smaller areas of your face. Then brushes, and we did get quite a few ones, so how am I gonna do? I think how much did we get? Altogether 6 brushes, which I do think is good. So GlossGods brushes, if you buy this individually, there are all sort of sets that you can buy these in, but if you buy these individually, the brushes go between 10 to, I think 16 or 20 euros were the more expensive one, which are the big face brushes. So I think these are pretty decently priced. I think like these go somewhere, in terms of price point, I'd say these go somewhere between like by Beauty Bay, which is a brand that I have like a lot of my makeup brushes are from, because you can buy those in sets that are quite inexpensive, especially if those are in sale. So the pricing is by Beauty Bay brushes and between Sigma brushes, and Sigma brushes are pretty much like a bit more expensive than these ones if you buy this individually. I think these are nice brushes. So there's one cheek brush which I have used today. I think you can see that it's quite dirty. Then there is some of these I was a bit questioning the usage. So this one is technically listed on their site as a big eyeshadow blending brush, and I think for me, like I can show this maybe close by, I think this is a bit too big for being an eyeshadow blending brush. So basically how I have been using this, that I have used this as a highlighter brush. You can certainly pretty much use this as an eyeshadow blending brush, but I think it's a bit too big, even though I am a fan of big blending brushes. But this one has been more of a highlighter brush rather than a blending brush. Then this one was actually something that they are saying is a precision highlighter brush. However, I've been actually, again, I did try this as a highlighter brush. It works out as a highlighter brush quite well. But what I've been using this for is to like applying my eyeshadow base onto my sort of lid area, or I think you could even maybe try this as a concealer brush. But officially they are saying this as this is a highlighter brush on their website, and you can certainly use it for that. But I've been using this for the sort of like putting on my eyeshadow base, because I am using this bigger blending brush as the highlighter brush. Then we have one sort of traditional eyeshadow blending, like eyeshadow shader blending brush. Works out very well. It is a bit on the, what I would say, maybe on the, it's not like super small, but it's a bit on the smaller side, but I do think for applying eyeshadow this has worked quite well. Then I think the most interesting one, so this is a very tiny small blending brush, and I don't think for like if you're looking for this sort of overall brush for like blending eyeshadow, this doesn't work out, but for especially hooded eyelids I do think this is actually pretty good. So what I have used this for is putting the deepening up shade to my like inner corner of my eyes. So if you are someone who especially needs a very detailed brush for applying your deepening up shade to your outer corner, I do think this is actually a pretty interesting and nice brush to have. If you have a lot of lid space, then I think this is not necessarily an eye brush type that you need, but for someone who has more hooded lids, I do think you would actually enjoy this one. And then the last brush was this particular one. So this came with the cake liner that was included in the also in the calendar that we're gonna see and discuss later. It does the job. However, this is gonna be actually one of those products that is not gonna be staying in my collection, and we're gonna talk about that with the cake liner when I get to it. But this works out as a small detail brush. So overall, I think the brushes are quite nice. They do feel good quality. I do like that they are very on brand with the purple coloring. However, are these brushes that I would buy separately? I would still say that these aren't necessarily like 10 times better than, for example, the Beauty Bay brushes that are much well, not much cheaper, but a bit cheaper to buy, especially if you buy them in bundles. And definitely if you buy these in bundles, you are then gonna get a bit of discount on them rather than buying them individually. But paying individually the 10 or 15 euros depending on the brush, not probably something that I would buy separately, but they are nice brushes. You can certainly like, they work very nicely, and I have used them on my makeup routine now for some weeks, so I do think they are nice, good quality brushes, but not something that I would personally buy separately. Okay, so next the skincare products, and as I said, one of the skincare products was with the voucher. However, because I just made the order actually yesterday, I don't have the, so I ordered the ceramide face cream that they have on their website, but I don't have that one, so I can't review that. But just so you're aware, there was technically, if you got the 25-day variation, you are able to pick out one additional skincare product on their website. But the products that did come in the calendar, so first one is this one. So this is the Cotton Candy Clouds Body Souffle. This was apparently a product that used to be available on their website, and they sort of brought it back with the calendar because people were asking to bring it back. This is basically a basic body cream. So this is something that I, again, haven't been able to calculate the value towards the whole calendar because you can't buy this currently on the website. So unlike with the powder buff that you can buy within some sets, this one doesn't appear on the website at all. So with this one I can't, again, give the pricing for it. But I do have to say it is what I would say a more... It is like, I would say it's not the thickest of body creams, but it's also not the lightest version. So I do think for a combo dry skin during winter time as a body cream, this is probably gonna work out okay. However, what I'm not a fan of is this scent. So when they are advertising that this has the cotton candy-like scent to it, it does initially have a cotton candy-like scent to it, but it dissipates quite quickly, and underneath of this one there is a this sort of like scent that reminds me of like my grandmother's skincare, and this is now no offense to grandmothers, they are very lovely, and I will always say that without grandmas we would be very lost, but if you have smelled this sort of old school skincare products, you pretty much, I think, know the scent I'm talking about. So this is not something that I would put all over my body, because the cotton candy scent dissipates so quickly and because the scent that it has underneath. But as a hand cream, I'm gonna be able to use this one up, so it is staying in my collection. But let's just say that I would have rather that if they are advertising this as a cotton candy like body souffle, I would have rather that the scent would have lasted longer and not have this sort of like underlying scent that is actually not as good as the initial scent when you apply this one. Then there was the Dreamy Dew Drops serum. So my cap of this one broke, and it's not the cap's fault. I dropped this basically on our bathroom tiles, and it pretty much went into pieces. So the cap did suffer, but there is a cap when you get this in the calendar. So this is initially what they are advertising as a sort of hybrid product between a hydrating serum and a primer. Because I'm not a skincare review channel, I'm just gonna talk about maybe as a primer how this is. So they are kind of saying that it is supposed to be like a bit of a dewy primer that also has a bit of a grip to it. I would say that it is actually, for someone like me who has a dry combo skin, I think this is okay. I was pretty initially not that excited about this one because I have tried some sticky primers and I haven't been liking working with those ones, because I actually feel that with a lot of sticky primers they actually disturb the foundation and the products you're trying to layer over them. But with this one here, there's a bit of grip to it, but it's not something that's gonna make you spreading your makeup products on top of this impossible. I also do like the kind of subtle glow this gives, and especially someone who these days does have a combo dry skin, I do kind of like that there's a bit of glow to this one. I think if you are suffering from a super dry skin, I don't think this is going to be hydrating enough for you, because this is something that sinks into your skin quite quickly once you apply it. But I think for combo dry skin, this is actually pretty nice of a sort of priming like product. How the sort of long-term effects of this one, that does it help with the hydration of your skin, again I'm not gonna speak on that one, because as I said, I'm not a skincare specialized channel, but as a sort of glowy makeup primer that helps your makeup to last, I do think this is a pretty decent product for a combo dry skin person. Okay, and now let's get to the makeup. So first let's go to the cheek products. So for cheeks we got two kind of products, or actually, well, technically three, but one of these is a duo. So along with the sort of magnetic palettes and you get basically two magnetic palettes with the calendar, and then you basically got some of the individual shades to put into. So for the smaller one, basically I have put the sort of glowy blush and glowy highlighter into this one. So I actually like both of the highlighter and the sort of blush glowy blush formula. The glowy blush with these ones, I'm always a bit scared that is it almost having glowy eyeshadow on your cheek, but I'm happy to say that with this particular formula, it is a glowy blush, but it's not something that's gonna look like straight out glitter on your cheek. Actually, and also now winter time, because my skin is a bit on the even more drier side than it usually is, I actually do think the blush formula, it helps out with the skin not looking so maybe dull. The highlighter is on the shimmery side, however, it was still on the side that I am able to use it, because I have discussed this quite a lot in my channel, that as someone in my 30s, if the highlighters are too glittery, then it doesn't look it looks very texturizing on my cheekbones. But this one, it's more of a shimmery highlighter, but it is still on the side that I'm able to use it, so it gives a very nice sort of shimmery glow, but it's not too sparkly to the point that it looks too texturizing. So I think I'm maybe hoping that they will expand the individual shade range, because I do think the both of the highlighter and the shimmery blush formula, I do think these are nice. I would hope maybe in future we might see more satin-like blushes or even matte blushes, and of course with highlighters maybe more variation, because basically currently on their website they only have individually available, or you can buy these in duos, basically the highlighter and this one highlighter shade and the one blush shade in the powder formula, so hopefully they will extend the line. The magnetic palette that came also with the calendar, I do think like for a magnetic palette this is quite nice. It is very on brand and fits with the calendar theme, so it has this sort of like icy blue color, and then there's the logo, so it's a very sturdy magnetic palette, and I was actually pretty happy that they did include the palette for the like cheek shades, because I'm a person that if I have the cheek shades in a eyeshadow palette I don't tend to use them, but because I'm now able to put this in a separate magnetic palette, I know that I will get some use out of these ones. Then the liquid blushes, so I think one of these might be an existing shade and one of this was new to the calendar. So first one is this one, so this is Lover. This is a very white based, it's more like white based orangey pink is what I would describe this. And then the calendar, I think exclusive shade that you can now get individually was this one, so this is Sugar Plum, which is a very deep sort of like plum reddish shade. So I don't know, have they changed the formula of this product? So I have always like I think praised this particular formula. This is one of the like liquid blush formulas that I always have rated very highly on my channel and I have featured in several of my favorite videos in the past. And I've always said that this is a more buildable liquid blush formula, which for many people can actually be a good thing because not everyone likes a super pigmented blush. But with one of these shades I have to say that I really had to like change the way I worked with this one, because both of these end up being a lot more pigmented than what I was used to. So first of all, this one, because it is a very white based pink orangey shade, a little of this goes a long way. If your skin undertone tends to turn these white based products into grays, then this might not be suitable for all skin undertones. But for example, someone like me who has a cool rosy undertone, this kind of shades works very well. But just be aware that if you've been trying out some of the other shades in the past and they've been a bit more on the buildable side, this is very quite punchy on the go, so just a couple of dots of this one and I think you're good to go. Then this one, Sugar Plum, I have sometimes contemplated that do they have enough shades in this particular range to cater towards deeper skin tones. I think this is especially a good shade if you have a deep skin tone, because with me, I did the oopsie the first time because I was working with this particular formula as I've been used to working with the previous shades in this line, that I went on and put the 3 dots of this one on my cheeks. That was clown cheeks, which is not the kind of blush style that I'm going towards. So with this one, I did have to like go over with powder and trying to like damp down the volume of how pigmented this was looking. So with this one, if you are someone as fair as I am, 1 dot is enough and you have plenty of it still to go around. So if you especially have a deeper skin tone, I think you're gonna enjoy this particular shade. And if you're a pale pasty person like me, just be very cautious when using with this one. But still, like, even though these were much more pigmented and punchier than what I may be used to with this formula, these still did work out very beautifully, and I do like both of the shades. And I do kind of like that we got one very like paler shade and then we got the sort of like deeper shade. And then when you take into consideration that I would say that the powder blush is what I would say maybe more of a mid-tone shades, I do think there was quite a good range, in fact, range in terms of like including people with different kind of skin tones within these sort of cheek products. Next, let's go to the 2 lip products, and lip products we got their lip oils. So one of these is actually a repeat item, and I think with the eye products there was also a repeat item from last year. So this particular lip oil, Smitten, this was actually from their holiday collection last year. So if you did buy products from the holiday collection last year, and as I did, however, I didn't get this particular shade, you did get some doubles with this calendar. However, I'm happy to say that you luckily probably didn't get too many doubles. Then the unique shade for this calendar was this one, so this is the My Cherry Cola shade. So this is a lip oil formula because I did buy one of the shades that was launched last year when they actually first time came out with this particular, or in like 2024. So in 2024 when they came out originally with this lip oil, so with this one and the kind of peachy orangey shade that I do actually have in my collection, I actually did end up saying that it was a big improvement for for example, the glosses that they used to have. Unfortunately, this particular shade Smitten, this goes very streaky on my lips when I try to apply it, and also it doesn't do much for my lips. So even though it kind of looks that it's this kind of nudie, brownish leaning shade, for me it kind of looks almost like having a clear gloss on my sort of lips. So I think from the lip oils, this is actually something that I am gonna be decluttering after I've done it, after having done this particular review video, because this goes on streaky, and I have the other shades, the My Cherry Cola shade that I'm gonna talk about after this, and the sort of orangey leaning shade that came along with this one during the 2024 Christmas season. With those ones I didn't have the issue with going streaky, so I don't know what happened with the formulations of this one. So this may be, in terms of the lip products, not a favorite from the calendar. This one I have been liking surprisingly a lot. So I was initially a bit afraid, so the My Cherry Cola shade, I was a bit afraid that, okay, is this gonna be one of those very gloopy pigmented glosses that I have to baby the whole day, that and watch out that I don't have it like around my mouth or like on my teeth or something. But this is actually, because it is more of a lip oil formula, I think that's why it's bit more pleasant, at least for me, to use. So it kind of sinks into your lips, and it kind of is more of a tint rather than being a full-on pigmented opaque shade that it's in the tube. I think you might be a bit disappointed if you're expecting the shade to show up as pigmented as it is on the on this tube, but I think if you are, on the other hand, a person who doesn't want to worry the whole time that, okay, do I have my lip product all over my face, I do think then you are gonna enjoy this particular shade. So with this one, it's a bit more maybe about the preference, that what are you expecting from this one. But I did end up liking this a lot more than I expected. I think I used this one much more than the sort of like the more nude one. Well, but obviously with this one, as I said, I did have some issues with the formula, and also I felt that this didn't do much. But with this one, I did actually like the finish of it, and I kind of like the sort of bitten lip tint effect this had on it. But it's not a tint, this is truly a lip oil, so once you eat or drink, this is gonna wear off from your lips. So I think that is something that you should be just aware of, that it's not gonna stick around once you drink or eat something. But overall, I do think this was a winner. Maybe for the next year, I mean, I think we could maybe see something else than a lip oil. A lipstick would be quite nice to see from the brand, especially since they don't have that extensive of a lip range. So I'm hoping maybe next year, aside from a glossy lip product, we would maybe get a lipstick or something else, because I do think maybe having two lip oils, which one of them was a repeat from 2024 Christmas collection, I think that was a bit maybe not perhaps as exciting, but still what I would say that we did at least have one winner in terms of the lips. And then we're going to the last category, which is the eye products, and oh dear, this was a eye product heavy calendar. I did already discuss, I did sort of a collective video of my sort of top advent calendar picks for the season, and I did discuss that if you were an eyeshadow or eye product lover, this was probably the calendar for you. So in one way it was very perfect for someone like me who likes eyeshadow, but this, just FYI, this is the biggest segment of this whole like calendar products. So first one is a product that I think we can say that after having now tried that, cake liner is just not gonna be my thing. So there was one cake liner, so it's this one, this is the power liner, and this basically you get a white shade and then you get a black shade, and you can see that I did try it, and if you watched my videos from last week, you probably saw the look that I attempted to at least use this product, but you're gonna see the image of the demo on the side. So I think as a cake liner, there's probably nothing wrong with this one. I think like it worked. I put some water into it. I tried to do something a bit more like outside of my usual box as you could say, but I don't think for a liner, like I'm not an eyeliner person in general. If you have watched my channel for a good while, you know that I don't really do eyeliner that often. So this is just a makeup preference thing. I do think as a cake liner it works out. I do think that you have to be a bit careful, especially like you can already see that from just a one-time usage, the white shade already has a bit of the black. So I do think you have to be a bit careful when you work with this one, that you don't end up getting the black color seeping into the white one. So that is maybe something that like you have to be aware of if you use this. But as a cake liner, I do think it works out, but not a product that I'm just probably not gonna be into. So this is another product that is gonna be getting decluttered after I've done this video, because it's just not a product type for me. Then we have the two sort of like individual, what were these, loose shimmer pigments, and one of these was a double. So within the calendar there was the Hoarfrost shade, and this was also in their 2024 collection. This is actually the shade that I had from last year. I actually ended up giving away the one that I got in the calendar, because I knew that I didn't want to have two of these in my collection. And then the new shade that was included was the Cherry Forest, but if you are looking at the cap, you can kind of see that there, I don't know, was there some kind of that, did they rename this shade or something, because at least on my, under my sticker you can see that there was actually another name with this particular shade, so I don't know, did they get the shade wrong or what, but yeah, I'm gonna post in the site the demo picture. Obviously, I have reviewed the shade Hoarfrost, so this is something that I have already reviewed and discussed on my channel, so I'm not gonna focus on this one too much, but I am gonna put in the comparison photo that you're gonna see the demo look that I used, the Cherry Frost shade. I am gonna put the comparison, like you can see the sort of shimmer shades side by side, so how the Hoarfrost is different from the Cherry Frost shade. So maybe I'm gonna focus more on the Cherry Frost shade because this was genuinely a new product, and by the way, this is the look that you are seeing today, so I'm actually wearing the Cherry Frost shade on my lids. It's a loose pigment. I think if you want to get the full effects of this one, you have to use glitter glue. What I did today is that I just ended up tapping it on my lid by just wetting my sort of like flat eyeshadow brush and then tapping it on, but if you want to get the full effect, then I would recommend using a glitter glue. I think the Hoarfrost and Cherry Frost shades, I think if you would look far away, a person wearing both of these, like one shade on the other eye and the other shade on the other eye, I don't think you would necessarily maybe see the difference between these two. So maybe if you are gonna include two loose shimmer pigments on your sort of like advent calendar, maybe I would have wanted the shades to be a bit more different. Like close by you can definitely see that the Cherry Frost shade, it has more pink to it, while the Hoarfrost is what I would say more of a peachy golden shade. But I'm just thinking that for being included in the same calendar, we could have maybe needed a bit more difference within the two shades. If you are into your like shimmer loose pigments, I don't think you're gonna be like disappointed. These are very sparkly, and especially I think with the sort of, because I'm pre-filming this, so it's technically not yet New Year when I'm filming this, but I think I might use one of these on my like New Year's Eve looks. But just I think as an overall everyday makeup product, these are definitely not products that I want to use every day, because it's still a bit of a hassle, because you need to wet your brush and then you need to tap it on, and then you have to look your under eyes that you don't have the shimmer all over your like face and everything. So there you need to do a bit of like different kind of things to make this loose shimmers work. But if you are into this kind of products, these are beautiful shimmers, but as I said, I think they are a bit too similar-esque looking to be in a like sort of one calendar. Then the sort of like eyeshadow, traditional eyeshadow products that we had. So first one was a product that I think they are very hard trying to get rid of these. So in the calendar there was this one, so this is the Let's like palette of pops, and this is the pink one, so I am gonna show this one, and on the side I think you should be seeing the two sort of demo looks that I ended up doing with this one. So unfortunately there was quite a few dots, like two dot shades in this one, and because it's such a small palette, this is something that's gonna get decluttered. Even though it's a color story, this is probably very ideal for me. So the dot shades in this one are the orange one and then this sort of reddish one, red shimmer over here. You can see that the looks are quite pretty. I especially like the more pastel pink look that I ended up doing with this one. But unfortunately, the issue that I had with this one, this was very patchy. So with this one, it didn't almost like grip into my like eyeshadow, like on my sort of eyelid, even though I actually used the GlossGods eyeshadow primer. So actually there's also not the excuse the fact that I'm using some kind of wrong primer, because I'm actually using their primer. It's one of my favorite eyeshadow primers. So with this one, this almost didn't stick into my lid, and when it did stick into my lid, it was hard to blend. And this red shimmer, like I can deal with the shimmer creasing a little bit, but this one, it was a hot mess when I took my makeup off after the day, because this was basically, it had creased so bad that I barely had anything left on the crease. The shades that did work out this point, so the light pink shade, the pink shimmer, and the steepening up shade, they did work out fine, but I think they are maybe, I don't know, was the quality of this one that it just wasn't maybe as, quality of these pop palettes, that maybe it wasn't such a good quality that it was their other palettes, because these have been on sale on their website for quite some time, and I think on the 2024 advent calendar, I think they included almost like 3 of these palettes, so I'm pretty happy that they, at least this year, didn't try to get maybe rid of some of their like more unpopular products by including every single one of these. And obviously I think if someone got the 2024 calendar, they would have gotten some repeats, but I still think maybe like with this one, this was a case of product that they're just trying to get rid of stock of product that haven't been that popular. But like for me, I feel that this maybe wasn't the best eyeshadow quality that GlossGods has done. Then let's discuss the Okay, we actually did have one non-palette product, so we're gonna have to go through that maybe in between. But anyway, then the singles that came that I at least put in the bigger singles palette. So these are the shades that are in the sort of magnetic palette. And again, with these ones I actually end up doing like one look per each section. So I do think these are actually quite often well like curated singles, except that I would maybe say that the only single bundle that didn't work out was the bluish bundle over here, which I think is such a shame, because I do think that if you are a person who is buying singles, I think that maybe like a lot of people would go towards buying singles rather than a whole palette, is that they want to buy a specific shade that they occasionally use but don't use on a everyday basis, and these kind of like poppy shade, colorful shades could be a purpose that I could see people like buying, basically buying out like singles. But unfortunately with this one, like I have the P. Louise, the double stacked palette that has the sort of similar color stories, but at least with that one the shades actually work out. With this one, first of all, this one was very patchy. It kind of has a black base to it, but you have to build this particular shimmer to quite a lot to have it to show up, and I had the issue that this all had a bit of issues like sticking to my eyelids. And then the turquoise and also the blue shades, I had to build these quite a lot. You can see from the side of the look that I did manage to like get them to work, and I did manage to get a look, but it was like, as I said, I have the shades, similar shades on my P. Louise budget, like P. Louise palette, and the shades are much more punchier and pigmented. So for me, the bluish turquoise shades in this one were a fail. But the sort of cherry combo and then the more neutral combo, those worked out very nicely. I'd say the only issue was maybe a bit with this particular deeper shimmer over here. This one was a bit sticky, but I was able to kind of blend it out, and then I did layer, I think I layered this one on top of it, and I did actually end up liking the look quite a lot. You're seeing it on the screen, but bit maybe quality issues with these singles, and I think with singles especially because again, I think those might be things that people buy individual shades because they want something maybe special in their collection. So I would, and especially because singles are more expensive to buy per shade compared to like palettes. So with the singles, I think some of them need a bit more work. Maybe not something that again I would have bought individually, but having gotten them in a calendar, I do think that especially the cherry bundle and the neutral bundle were quite like nice, and I'm gonna keep this around. I'm also not gonna get rid of the bluish and greenish shades, because while I wasn't a fan of them, the palette is big enough for me to like, I still like, it's like they can stay along within this palette even though they weren't maybe perfect. But yeah, not a product that I would have bought, as I said, individually, but as an, I would say for a calendar product it was okay. Then the sort of like one individual eye product that I forgot. So this one, so GlossGods have also gone on with the trend of other brands, so they have brought out their variation of this kind of eyeshadow jelly stick, and mine is a bit dirty already because I've used this a couple of times. So I'm gonna pop in the demo picture of this one. I think this is an okay product, but I'm pretty happy that I got this in a calendar and didn't buy any of these individually, because I don't think this is gonna be still my favorite way of eyeshadow application. To get the kind of look that you're seeing on the picture, you had to build this quite a lot, and this product apparently, like, I don't, maybe you can see it on the calendar, like I have used mine, this was the second time today that I actually used this. Basically I used this as a base to the like loose shimmer that I then put on top of this one. But basically I've used this 2 times and this is already like breaking apart, so I'm not a fan of that one. And to get the kind of result that you're seeing, you had to very much layer this one. So well, for maybe some this could be a nice product, but I don't think for me this is a product that I would again go buy separately. I am gonna like keep this around. I kind of like the fact that this is kind of a you get this sort of like duochrome-ish shimmer look with this one, but I would have maybe wanted more oomph with this one. I think that it is still it could have had maybe more sparkle, but I don't know, like formulating this kind of stick product, that I'm a bit unsure that how much you can put the shimmer like product in this one for the products to still hold in this kind of jelly. So I don't know how the formulation of this one is, that how much you can put the shimmer pigments, but I don't know, maybe for someone who's looking something very easy on the go, these could be nice, but I'm just not maybe also a fan of the fact that I have used this 2 times and this is already like breaking apart. So in terms of like durability, I also haven't maybe been as impressed with this one, at least so far. And also, as you saw, this kind of product, it will get dirty because especially if you are using this over a matte eyeshadow, the matte eyeshadow is gonna, some of it is gonna stick to the product. And then to what was maybe the sort of killer product of this calendar, and this was like their official also holiday palette. So I think for now a couple of years they have done this, that they have launched their, you have been able to get their holiday palette in the advent calendar, but then this is something that has released separately. So this year's theme was this one. So this is the Starry Skies palette, and this is a, what I would say, very gray blue leaning palette. So I think I'm gonna pop in the looks and then we're gonna go through maybe why this is maybe, why I'm not maybe such a big fan of this one. First of all, I think, okay, if you watched a lot of my channel, you know I like my cool tones, but if it's a very gray leaning cool tone palette, we are having some, it's not my favorite, and this is a very gray leaning cool tone palette, so that is why this is never, this, like already we could say based on the color story that this is not probably gonna be a #1 palette. I think we would have needed some matte blues in this one to get versatility. I was kind of able to get one blue look that you are seeing in the picture by basically using, I kind of tried to use the Polaris shade over here as my base. It kind of is more satiny leaning shimmer, but this is one of also shimmers that I had trouble of getting this to stick on my eyelid, so it's not the easiest shade to work in this particular palette. And then I used the shade Frosty, which is the very pale blue shimmer over here. I think if we would have in exchange, because some of the silvers and some of the white based shimmers here, there are quite a few shades that I think are being a bit too similar of being included in a one single palette. So I think if we would have exchanged those shades into what I would say maybe a periwinkle pale blue matte and then a mid-tone navy blue, then I think we would have already got a much more versatility with this particular palette, because I think with a lot of those looks, even though between the 2 gray shimmery looks that you're seeing, I generally did use different shades on those looks and they are still kind of looking a bit too similar. And because the mattes are all very gray leaning, so even though I think there's technically the Eclipse shade over, so this shade over here, even though it looks kind of brown, but actually when you spread this on your lid, because it has a very strong gray base to it, it kind of also again takes away from versatility. So I think at least if, like as I said, maybe a couple of matte blues and then maybe this brown could have been actually more like brown leaning rather than being this sort of like a gray leaning brown, then I think we would have gotten a lot more like further. Also maybe like because the theme was Starry Skies, so I can kind of get the theme behind the palette, but maybe aside from having just like white and silver shimmers, maybe some pale golden shimmers would have again brought a bit more versatility to it. In terms of quality, aside from the like one blue shade, aside from the one deep blue shade, so aside from the Polaris shade, I do think most of the shades in this one, they did work out quite well. And compared to the palette of pops that I just showed, this is like definitely with the mattes and shimmers, I didn't have that many issues. So I think this shows that it's better quality. Something I did notice on the website, so I think GlossGods, at least previously, I've said that the brand's eyeshadow palettes have been pretty decently priced, but this full price is almost 60 euros, and I don't know is the reason the fact that this is magnetized, so you can see that there is actually, I can show this close by, so you can see that we have the kind of divots in here, so I think this is magnetized, and I don't think the previous palettes that I have from them are magnetized, so I do get it that if you are gonna put magnets into, if you are making your pans magnetized, that's gonna raise the price, but I would have rather not have the pan magnetized and have the price lower, because I'm not so sure that 60 euros for GlossGods, not maybe something that I would pay, but that's also related to the color story. This isn't this was never going to be a primary color story for me. Maybe on a like better color story, if the shades otherwise work impeccably, maybe yes, but I do think 60 euros for GlossGods, that is getting to be quite a lot. But still, this is gonna stick around in my collection. I actually do think for the current winter season we're having, this is very appropriate, but I think this needed some tweaks tweaks to be a bit more versatile than it actually ended up being. Okay, time for some math, and just as I said or did I say it in the intro? Anyway, so regarding how I have calculated the price and value of this one, I have calculated the price, like total value, based on full prices listed on the website. As I said, when I'm filming this, there's still the end of the year sale, but by the time I post the video, the sale is probably gonna be over. It's gonna be soon over. In terms of the only thing that I did put a bundle value on was the bundle of singles. So on their website, you can buy the sort of single products, including the 2 magnetic palettes and both the content, so the 2 cheek shades and all the single eyeshadows. With those one, there is a bundle value on the website. So with the singles, I used the bundle value because it was a bit more easier than going through how much the single cost per shade. But otherwise, I have used the individual value. And as I said, with some products, so with these 2 ones, these are put as €0 value because you can't buy these on the website separately, at least currently. So the math has been mathing up, and I did calculate in the end that you did get the value of €557.90. And I ended up paying from the calendar, which includes the shipping price, €205.31. And I got, as I said, I had the 25-day variation, which was available for those who got the calendar on pre-sale and for those who sort of got the calendar when they were trying to get rid of the last calendar stocks. And I did end up getting a bit of the discount from the sale price of the calendar because I was one of the late buyers. So when you kind of do the math of taking off the paid, what I paid for the calendar, how much the product values was based on my calculation, the total value was €352.59. So if I would be keeping all the products, and when we take into consideration for what I paid for, we are, I think, 350 plus euros, we are still on the winning side. Then if we take into consideration, I think I calculated altogether that there are 5 products that are not going to be sticking into my collection. The value of those products is approximately €74.75. So if we take into consideration the products that are not going to be staying in my collection, the value would still be €277.84. So I think that even if we take into because this always happens with advent calendars, there's always with these calendars products that are just not gonna suit for everyone, and so I think it's pretty realistic to calculate out those products that are not gonna stay. Do I think, as I said, that are all the products worth the price? As I said, I think the tote bag is very overpriced on their website. I don't think the tote bag that the calendar basically came in is worth the almost €50, 47 something. I don't think that's worth it. Also, I think the makeup bag being valued at €34 for full price, I think that's very overpriced. I think 15 to 20 euros would be realistic. What else? I do think also the skincare products, as I said, there is okay, the body souffle, but again, that's not calculated into value because you can't buy it on the website. But for example, the Dreamy Dew Drops serum, this is approximately 31 euros on the website. I think you can maybe get something similar at a 15 to 20 euros. I think considering that GlossGods, it's not a skincare focused brand, I think 30 euros for skincare, that's maybe a bit much, but again, that's a very subjective valuation. For someone, this could be worth 30 euros, but for me, I think maybe 20 euros. But we are going, as I said, with the pricing of what they have said as the full prices on the website. So overall, how would I conclude this? I think for a eyeshadow palette and eye product lover, this was a very good calendar. I did generally like a lot of the products, and I do like it that even though I'm a person who likes a makeup heavy advent calendar, we actually got some tools. I do think the brushes are pretty nice addition. We got a powder puff, which was a new product. There was a cute hand mirror. And most of the products did end up working out. As I said, I wasn't a fan that with the 25-day voucher, I had to pay again separately for the product shipping, which kind of takes away of the value of the voucher. But I'm gonna get a additional skincare product, so that is nice. But yeah, I think that even with some of the minuses in the calendar, at least for me, this was worth it. Is this a calendar that I'm gonna buy next year? I would probably look for the unboxing. I always do watch the unboxing videos before because I actually want to know what I'm getting into. But I would very carefully watch the unboxing video and see that are there similar items, or are they doing a lot of doubles from previous years? Because I think that's gonna affect a lot of how you perceive, because I do think that if you have a very large GlossGods collection, especially if you have a lot of the tools, and because also the skincare items and some of the lip and cheek products weren't calendar exclusive, and some of the eye products also were like items that have been featured before. So I think for someone who has a very large GlossGods collection, it could be that you are getting maybe bit doubles. But I felt that even though I'm a person who has a lot, I am a person who has a lot of GlossGods products, I still didn't get that many doubles. So as I said, for me this was worth it, even with some of the products that are not staying. But comment down below, did you get an advent calendar during 2025, and do you think your advent calendar was worth it? And if you got this particular calendar, what were your thoughts on about the products you got in them? If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from our future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope you can see another video. Bye bye!